Let's start by talking about something positive. 7 goals in 2 games. You must be delighted with that return.
Yeah, very pleased because the Swindon game, which preceded those, we didn't make many chances at all, and I thought our general play in that game was poor as well. So the Yeovil game was a welcome turnaround where we looked like we could score goals. And then obviously the night, I thought the goals we scored were good goals. We were clinical, and I was really pleased with the way the players played.
What's changed, apart from the obvious thing, which is the introduction of Christian Montano? What's changed to allow you to get into the position to score more?
I just think you don't want to be changing formation. You don't want to be changing personnel if you can help it. But when players are inconsistent, you're always searching for a formula that's going to work, and we had to change it after Swindon. But then again, you could say it depends how you want to call it, because when you lose the ball and you're out of possession, invariably people think you've got one up front, but it's not like that really. It's hopefully you've got 3 players up front, and you're getting your couple of midfield players forward as well, and you're also getting fullbacks forward. So it can be an attacking formation. But when you don't have the ball, you've got to work hard defensively, because, like I've said on many occasions, if we give away goals cheaply, then you know how difficult it is in this league when you go behind. So you want to be defensively sound, but we did need to get more bodies forward, and certainly we needed to create more chances.
Goal scorers always get the praise in a team. Can I ask about a couple of unsung heroes? Because Nathan Smith looks like he's really impressed in the last couple of games, but Anthony Kay playing a key role in front of the back four.
I think Nathan is obviously somebody who's played a lot of games now. He's had a lot of different defensive partners, but he's still learning the game, and he's still got room and time to learn and to get better. But as a centre half, you're always looking for a level of consistency, week in, week out. I know I was faced with after the Lincoln game, you'd have to say you're faced with a situation where, as a manager, it could be your last game, the next game, and you're gonna turn to players who you can trust. And obviously Nathan's one, because I know exactly what I'm going to get from Nathan. I know he'll give everything for the club, and he's a reliable performer, and people like that, you want to have in your team. And he's done well over the last couple of games. I think with Anthony Kay, he's got a lot of pride in his performance. I think you would, if you sat him down, he'd think that he should have played more often, because he wants to be in the team. He's not ready to pack in playing. He certainly wants to keep playing. He was brought back into the team for a couple of reasons. One of them being that he's the best talker out of all the players, and there was a lack of talking in games. There was things that we needed to do better on the pitch, and he's been a part in doing that.
Somebody else who plays a key role at the back for you, vocally and with his presence, Leon Legg, ill for Tuesday's game. How's he feeling?
I spoke to Leon yesterday or the day before. Yesterday, to see how he was. It's something that it will take a little bit of time for him to feel all right. So he'll not be available for Saturday, but it's nothing major. It's something that he's had to deal with over his career, and I expect to see him back training next week.
On the topic of Saturday's game, Morecambe away, happy memories for you there? I think it was your first away win as manager.
No, it was a really good day last year, and I have to say they didn't all turn out to be as nice as that day, and certainly there was a lot of bad days after that, but it was a good day. But I would have to say, when you play Morecambe, don't underestimate Morecambe. I think that's the key to this game, because they get good results, and they get results sometimes when you don't expect them to get results. and they're capable of winning any game against any team in this league, and we need to be at our best. You know you're going to get a scrap, it's going to be a fight and a battle, and we've got to go there and roll up our sleeves, and it's every bit as important as any other game. And as I say, but we go there confident, and we have to go there positive.
We spoke to you a lot over what was a busy summer for you. As you hit the halfway mark pretty much of the season now, you have an eye on next summer to make sure it's not as busy for you. When do you start looking at contract renewals for those players who you've already got on your book to keep that squad together?
I certainly don't want to be in a position where I'm fighting to keep my own players that I want. I think it's essential that that gets dealt with and gets sorted out early. So I welcome the fact that we need to be speaking to those players now who we want to keep, and then we need to obviously strengthen again. But I don't want to have a situation where a player's contract is or it has run out and then they're speaking to other clubs. I think it's our responsibility as a club. We have to, be making inroads into getting those players signed up for longer.
There was an issue last season about letting players go. When, as a manager, do you know in a season who's going to cut it for a new contract and who you are going to let go?
I think even this morning I've looked at people that I've signed. I look at everyone. I look at people who were already here, and I think you're always making decisions on people. It's always down, I think, to obviously what they do on the pitch, but there's other things as well, and sometimes you might see something in a player, and he's just not doing what you want at this moment in time, but you can see there is something there, and you want to keep with it. So it's not just I think you've got to give people a chance, and you've got to give them a little bit of time, but eventually if they're not delivering, then they're no good to me, because the one thing you don't have in football is time. You need results. So I think you try and be as fair as you can to everyone, but if people are not performing, then you've got to look for people who will perform.
Just finally, when you've got players on your books who you want to keep, how difficult is the process of actually keeping them and going about a renewal?
It's like anything. If a player knows that there's other clubs interested in him and he's already been tapped up by other clubs, then it's always a problem. You're then relying on other factors. If it comes down to money, then you're always vulnerable because we're not the biggest players. So that's always going to be a problem. But there's many other factors. I've obviously got some people who I've signed previously, so you like to think you've got a relationship with some players that you maybe don't have with others. And at the end of the day, I always will do what's best for the club, but I also try to do what's best for the players as well. And I don't like to stand in people's way if they can progress and play at a higher level. But for players to do that, you're hoping that they're going to do well for the club, and then if they do leave, then the club gets compensated. So I think there's always a balancing act, I think, with any player. But I certainly don't want to be trying to replace players that I've already signed in who I want.